Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Well, we're going to take a look at how Erica Kirk responded to Candace, who's been really grifting big off of Charlie's unaliving. And she's been kind of silent, but she's come out of the shadows to say something now. But Candace doesn't seem to appear to be backing down. Now, she said she would stop if two people said something, her husband or Erica Kirk. Well, I guess her husband never said nothing, but Erica has now come to the surface to say stop. But Candace, the way she responded, I don't think she will. She don't talk about the Black community. Remember, she would drag our community all the time, but I guess she's not being paid to grift because all of the organizations that paid her to do it, she got fired from. So she really don't talk about us like that, but she's now grifting and making her money grifting white people now primarily. So let's hear what is going down between her and Erica Kirk. So look like Candace heard what she said, but doesn't seem to be backing off at all. So I don't care that Candace is grifting at their expense. Turning Point USA, it is what it is. Hey, y'all were the ones that created this monster. See, as long as Candace was talking bad about us, y'all were cheering her on. Y'all thought she was great. Remember, Candace is smart. Candace is beautiful. Candace is right. Candace is this. Candace is that. But now the monster has turned on you. What's that song? I never thought that leopard would eat my face. Well, the leopard is having a feast on your face. And you just can't control the monster you created. You can't control it now. And it's really upsetting you. And y'all don't know what to do. Usually, when one of us can outshine you, your usual bag of tricks is to destroy the character of the person, but I noticed that doesn't work so well anymore because on social media, people will either take it or leave it, and your word, I don't know, it don't seem to carry the weight that it used to years ago. So, yeah, some people will walk away from Candace, but not all. Not all. Where it would be significant. That's why even after all that stuff that happened between her and Ben Shapiro, she actually got a bigger audience than Ben Shapiro. And he did nothing but drag her. And ultimately, she ended up with a bigger audience than Ben Shapiro. They also threatened her because she was talking about the use and at the end of the day, she got a bigger audience than all of the people that threatened her. So it didn't turn out so bad for her after all. So usually social media people will decide what side of, what side of what person they will like and decide what person they don't like. They'll walk away from the one they don't like and they'll stick with the one they do like. That's how social media works. You may not always agree, but it is what it is. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so you can hear what was said and how people responded. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. How you doing, Kid Gravity? Okay.
Yay! Finally, you didn't have to get through all that shade that you were throwing me to get to the point that you were willing to answer questions, okay? Because that's what Charlie did for a living. How could you guys think that you were just going to continue on and pretend like people asking meaningful questions was somehow an attack? That's what he did for a living. He stood up on college campuses and he debated people. And he sat there principally and debated people because he felt that he had the moral high ground, okay? And that if those people disagreed with him, he could bring them over to his side. You guys have been actually acting and embodying the opposite of Charlie Kirk's spirit, okay? And you did it even in this. It was like one big character assassination. And it wasn't to me. That's what you guys don't understand. You're not attacking me. You are attacking millions of people around the world who watched a man, an innocent man, be publicly executed and then watched what felt very much like the state collude to feed us absolute horseshit about what took place on that day. Okay? 30-06 bullets do not get stopped by human necks because they eat healthy. They don't. And yes, you guys are a part of that apparatus of people who made us feel, and you've expressed it here, like you were too good to answer questions. We are already said, I got on stage and I told you that I'm Charlie's pastor. I told you I'm his best friend. I told you, you guys have even allowed people to inject themselves into his legacy that Charlie didn't even like. And we're supposed to believe you're doing this because you're his friend? Because you're committed to truth? You sat there and allowed the very people who pressured Charlie towards the end of his life to try to claim his whole legacy? And you're pretending we are the ones that are immoral? You're upset because you got caught lying. You're upset because you got caught with your pants down, but you cannot blame me for that, okay? These were your own errors. These were your own lies. And I was not going for a single second to let up on the pressure. In fact, I have been so strategic that I have been holding on to certain information, hoping that you would acquiesce to have a public conversation because I want to look you in the eye and I want to challenge you to lie to me because I care deeply about what happened to Charlie on that day. I don't think we're getting the truth. And I do believe that because you are not forthcoming about the information that you have about Charlie texting you guys and saying that he thought he was going to be assassinated that very next day, okay? The day that he died, Charlie knew, said he thinks he was going to be killed tomorrow, and you guys are sitting on that information. So I'm the right person, yeah? I'm the right person to sit across from you and to ask you questions, right? Some things that you told me on that day, they're not adding up. I think the entire world would like to see this discussion. I think you can do it in Charlie's honor. I'll sit there, you pick a place and time. We could have done this today, by the way. You didn't have to read all that. Okay. We all have tech. We could have done a live stream. We could schedule a live stream. We can raise money for Turning Point USA if you promise to answer every question that I have. Okay. And it's not hard. It's not difficult if you are telling the truth to answer questions. When you are emoting so much and you're upset at the inquiry and you're playing this game like you're David Hogg and why I survived Parkland, so how dare you question my authority on anything? Not a good long-term strategy. It's not going to be effective long-term. And I think you're learning that lesson because 3 months on, with the entire mainstream media on your side and attacking me, which you guys didn't even stand up for me when you knew they were lying about me, you stayed mum. That in and of itself, you should be ashamed of. You should be ashamed to sit across from people who did everything they could to stop Charlie's rise, breaking bread with them and refusing to have a conversation with me. And you know that I cared about Charlie. Okay. At one time, a friend of Charlie's, at one time, an employee of Turning Point. She has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business off of these lies. What do you want to say to her and the other people
that are putting these lies out into the world right now. Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop. The podcaster can.
Well, there you have it, you guys. Erica Kirk addresses Candace personally, because they are talking about Candace Owens in this interview. And Erica Kirk tells her to stop. And I saw Candace Owens respond yesterday when she heard her on another interview say for people to stop with the conspiracy theories. And she was like, no. But this one was literally directed to Candace Owens. That's who they were talking about. That's who the reporter mentioned. And Erica Kirk, wife of Charlie Kirk, asked her directly to please, not even please, to stop. What do you all think? Candace did say the only two people that would make her stop would be Erica Kirk or her husband. So Erica Kirk has spoken out. Do you think Candace Owens should stick to her word and respect Charlie Kirk's wife and stop?
I bet you didn't see this.
We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there.
Before I let Erica Kirk continue, apparently I'm going to hell based off Candace's words because I'm part of the people that are criticizing her for her wrongdoing. Now, Candace, it was you that said that Erica Kirk is the only person that can shut you up. Here it is, Erica Kirk live telling you basically to stop. If you don't remember, let's look at the videos.
No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erica Kirk,
outside of my husband and Erica Kirk,
has the power to shut me up right now. That's it. I am on this journey to figure out what happened on that day. I'm not going to stop unless Erica Kirk asks me to stop, as I have said, or my father, or my husband asks me to stop, because truth matters.
Those are not my words, those are yours. But we're going to let Erica continue.
So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single...
I'm so happy Erica Kirk spoke out, and she showed an example of strength to me. So Candace Owens and the rest of you conspiracy theory minions that spread lies about Erica Kirk and Turning Point, you have crossed the line. And it's funny that a lot of you guys cry and complain and stomp your feet and make videos about the fact that you didn't get invited to the Turning Point event, AmpFest. I wonder why. You've spread lies, you've twisted stories, and you've invented conspiracy theories, all to drag this woman's name through the mud and her organization through the mud. Why? For clicks. For freaking clicks. That is not truth-seeking. That is desperation. Erica Kirk is a real person, a woman, who is trying to live her life. She's trying to live her life. And Turning Point has real people that work there in that organization that do not deserve to be your conspiracy punching bag. So let's stop with the lies. Let's stop with the obsession. Let's stop weaponizing someone else's life for your content, because that's not exposing anything. That's exposing you.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating. The idea that she does not have time. She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times, she made time to fly to DC for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today. So Erica Kirk has time. It is not her priority to respond to the majority to that point.
I took from what Erica said is what I think Candace didn't grasp is that Erica doesn't have time for her conspiracy theories,
Now, Erica said she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars, on these conspiracy theories. But I found out since the unaliving of Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA has made $140 million. Okay. So Erica Kirk got a lot of nerve talking about somebody making money. And they made money. Turning Point USA literally made from the time Charlie got put down all the way up until now. Turning Point USA made $140 million. Maybe that's why she didn't seem so upset, y'all. Now what I mean? Let's go on.
For everything that she's claiming that she doesn't have time to address Candace, to address rumors. I'm not saying I am Team Erica or Team Candace. Candace has a lot of points. There's so many questions that have gone unanswered. But again, Candace did say that she would stop if Erica asked her to stop. And if, as Charlie's good friend, you would think she would stop attacking his wife. And I get it. She wants answers, like I said, but Charlie was not Candace's husband. Yes, Charlie was her friend, and we all want a friend like Candace who's going to be in our corner. If something happens to us, she's going to try to figure it out. But I think right now, Charlie would probably be pissed off at how she's going after his wife. She's in the CEO position. She has all these people feeding her all this information, and she's in a very mental and emotional unstable state. Her husband just got unalived on TV. And, she, like Candace said, she's responding very emotional. I'm really thinking maybe not Erica Kirk was involved, but I do think maybe the people at TPUSA know way more than what Erica knows, and they're in on something that she's out of the loop of. I don't blame Candace either. She just wants answers, and everybody else wants answers because everybody else saw it happen. It sometimes rubs me the wrong way, but then I saw that interview, and everybody grieves differently. I've had friends that have lost, their spouses, their boyfriends, whatever, and they have all grieved differently. All grieved differently. Some are just so strong and yeah, I'm good for like a month, and then boom, it just collapsed. Like reality sets in. So, I mean, I would not judge Erica as a woman to a woman. I would not judge her as to how she chooses to grieve.
Charlie always viewed Candace as a friend, and we were holding out hope that she would return that friendship and stop what she was doing. But a week from now, it's going to be 3 months since Charlie's murder. Candace has not changed her behavior. She has continued to spread falsehoods about Charlie's friends, and she continues to concoct new ones about new people.
I will say this. I believe Candace lost some people after the holidays, right? She claimed that there was this assassination hit put on her, and then she was spotted out at Dollywood, which is like, the Dolly Parton, amusement park. She texted her complaint to a friend at the FBI, but didn't file like a formal report over, so those types of things. I think a lot of people, it took wind out of their sails, being like, Candace, if this is all legit, you need to be treating it as such.
She's using these falsehoods to enrich herself while dividing the conservative movement at an absolutely critical time for this country. And far too often, we here have heard from ordinary people who loved Charlie and who Charlie loved so much in return. These people have expressed the worry that we are staying silent out of cowardice or as some sort of tacit admission that some of the attacks are true. Neither is the case. Our silence has never been, and it will never be, equal to complacency or approval. Still, we decided Charlie would not allow this to go on. Charlie was not a coward. Charlie was a fighter. Charlie would not allow someone to spread lies about the people closest to him with impunity.
I just hate when they go, Charlie would do this, Charlie would do that. It's like, yeah, you're probably not wrong, but it's hard to defend your stance when you're all carrying on his show with his name on it and he's not there. And it's a real tough place to be. That's why, the idea of the Turning Point USA or Charlie Kirk show continuing on, I wonder how long advertisers will support it. It really comes down to, will people continue to consume this content without Charlie being the face of it, really?
He would feel ashamed if other people were stepping up to defend his friends while he never did so himself. Candace has mentioned several times that the ball is in our court. So here's what is going to happen.
Whoa.
In the near future, there will be a live stream here in Phoenix where we address in a clear and comprehensive way the claims and accusations, the false accusations that have been made against Charlie's family, friends, and the people here at Turning Point. We plan to walk through everything carefully and thoroughly. If Candace is available, we would sincerely welcome her participation in that live stream at our studio here in Phoenix.
So they have to treat it like a trial, right? If Candace has evidence that they're wrong, Candace needs to provide that.
Is Erica saying that the only people that are allowed to profit off of Charlie's passing are Turning Point people or people in her family? Like, I'm just trying to understand what she's saying, considering Turning Point has made hundreds of millions of dollars, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. But now that Candace's spidey senses are up, I think everybody would love for her to look into whatever happened in Romania. Like, did she have a nonprofit that got shut down due to things that had to do with traffic and children? Did she have an ex-husband that was Romanian? And did she have a daughter with that person? And was that person linked to Epstein? Did she bury her husband or not? Or is he just sitting embalmed somewhere? Like, she never actually answered that question, if he was in the ground or not in the ground. I feel like these are perfectly reasonable questions and relatively easy questions to answer. If she wants these conspiracy theories to stop, especially on Candace's end, why doesn't she just call her? Because Candace said in the very beginning, the only person that could stop her is Erica Kirk. If anything, answering these questions can clear your name, can clear Turning Point, can clear your new family.
She has had a threat to her life. Let's hear what she has to say.
Now, in terms of formal replies that we received from government structures, the only department that we did hear back, well, first let me say, I did not at all hear back from the FBI on the American side. I did hear back from the counterterrorism unit. I did hear back from the White House confirming that that message had been delivered on Trump's desk, me saying that I had the information. I guess he didn't want to inquire further, which is interesting. But the FBI left me on red. And I will say, I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up who received the text message. No response.
Wait, what? You believe that there is a multinational, state-sponsored assassination team coming to kill you and your family? Your husband, you, and you sent a text message and didn't send a formal email to the FBI? That's what you're trying to tell me right now? I don't believe that. I don't believe that you believe that this threat is real. I'll just say that. That's like that. If my family was in danger and I thought a state-sponsored assassination team was coming to kill me and my family, I would be sending that everywhere. And I would make sure that and by the way, when I got a response, if I have a platform like this, I'm going to show you that response. Why is it she's showing us the confirmation of her emails? She demands evidence from everybody, from the FBI, from TPUSA, from Utah. And she never gives the simplest of evidence to us to confirm anything that she says. And she doesn't mind sharing. The only evidence that we have gotten is sort of the text messages early on. Why doesn't she show this text message that she even sent that information? What is she afraid of there? Why are we not seeing the confirmations of receipt that she says, that she tweeted about as well, that they acknowledge receipt of all of this information? Why don't we even have that? It doesn't make sense. All right, so in this next clip, she's talking about UVU students stating that they didn't recognize anybody that was at the Charlie Kirk event. Now, when you have these large events on a college campus, I don't know that you would recognize anybody, but I don't know. Let's play it and hear her out.
The UVU students who attended said that they felt like they didn't recognize anybody that was there. It was weird.
Forget about how illogical that is. But let's talk about what she's getting ready to say, because she has said this time and time and time again.
It was very strange that they advertised for this event really late in the day.
All right, so this is a narrative that Candace has continued to push multiple times. I've seen it on X. I'm sure she's talked about it in her episode somewhere. But basically what she's saying is that, hey, you know what? This event wasn't even advertised till late in the day. Now, that in of itself is at least an exaggeration of things that I've known her to say on X. Originally, what she was saying is that this event was only advertised 2 days prior. So essentially, there was no time for Tyler Robinson or anybody else to plan for this, to plan this attack, because there was only 2 days prior. So it had to come from information from the inside. This is a lie. It is completely incorrect. And here's a tweet that I shared it was November 4th. So I retweeted, Jane Doe, we knew that this event was indeed advertised many, many days prior to, it was more than 2 days we knew for a fact. But then we found the original listing on TPUSA website. It was actually sent out August 28th. But you can see on this flyer that was on the TPUSA website, August 28th, that not only did we know exactly when it was going to be, September 10th, 2025, but it was going to be in the UVU courtyard. So the idea that there was only a couple days prior or required insider information to plan this is total nonsense. And I know Candace knew about this. And how do I know that Candace knew about this? Because she responded to my tweet. So here she is right here. Sorry, I'm not tracking and wanted to add this to my timeline. What website are you using that shows that this venue went live on August 27th? Everything I'm looking at shows the websites weren't crawled until September 7th. Maybe you're using a different site. We provided her the information. It indeed was live and people knew about it August 27th.
It was very strange that they advertised for this event really late in the day.
So she has known that this event was publicly advertised and marketed since August 27th. But here we are, December 1st, still pushing the same nonsense that it was only advertised late in the day and it was crazy that people even showed up at all. This is pure intentional deception. And because she cares more about the narrative that she's trying to push and not the truth. There's no other explanation whatsoever. She is lying to people left and right because she wants people to believe her as opposed to sticking with truth, evidence, logic, or anything else.
And then suddenly we see a bunch of adults and people that they don't recognize at this event. And then afterwards, the national media moves to, it looks like they're almost trying not to interview any UVU students, right? They're interviewing everybody around. You got all these adults who were there, but mysteriously the UVU students who had some interesting tidbits about what was weird that day just don't flood into the mainstream like we expected them to.
Why hasn't she interviewed any eyewitnesses? Why hasn't she personally gone to UVU to investigate what happened? Because I'm telling you, you have to go there. I did. I went there, and I'm telling you, it opened your eyes to the reality of what's going on. And by the way, I did talk to 5 different eyewitnesses while I was there at UVU. 4 of them did not want to go on the record. I did talk to one that went on the record. I interviewed him. You can go check out that video right there. But all 5 of those people told me the exact same story. It was very consistent with what we know. And quite frankly, it lined up with what is outlined in the charging documents, whether you like that or not. But the question remains, why hasn't Candace Owens gone there? Why hasn't she interviewed people personally? Why hasn't she had people on her show personally? All right, so here she's talking about the French Foreign Legion. It gets interesting.
Now, as it pertains to the French Legion, something else that's kind of interesting is that they basically gutted and replaced about half of their leadership in mid-August. Check out this article published on August 20th. In 2025, a change of command took place across 6 regiments. Now, we researched, and look, I'm not a military buff, we found that they have 12 regiments that are known of, and you're telling me that they gutted leadership of 6? They put in 6 new commanders?
Again, more hyperbolic, exaggerated, straw man speech to try to convince you something's weird here. Every military unit out there goes through change of command. That's not gutting your leadership. It's normal to have like a bunch at the same time because you have people that are getting promoted. And so they go up to the next command level that they're going to. And then those other people that they go to the next command level. It's a change of command. She's constantly taking these innocuous events and turning them into this weird, suspicious, crazy thing that's happened. And it's all to convince you of something that isn't true. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about military things, and we're back to the students not recognizing all these people coming from outside of campus to an event that was advertised outside of campus that probably 3/4 of the people were not UVU students to begin with. I don't know why she keeps harping on this and trying to turn this into something that's not, but it's what she does.
The UVU students, the fact that they didn't recognize anybody indicates that we might be looking at military regiments that were there. And from the information that I am getting, which I'm going to explain later this week, I think there were some National Guard regiments that were there, some French Foreign Legionnaires that were there.
All right. So now we're saying that the U.S., again, she knows nothing about the military. Okay, when you're talking about these things, you don't know about them. That's a real problem, right?
Well, when you're grifting, you don't have to leave your house. you you don't have to leave your house when you're grifting. So Candace, she is just doing what she always does. I mean, think about it. When Candace was dragging us on the behalf of her white employers, did she ever do any investigative type reporting? Did she ever dig? She didn't even get the history right. If you remember, she every time she would do any type of history, she wouldn't even get that right. So what makes you think she's going to do any digging in this instance? When you grift, you don't really concern yourself with the facts, right? And she's not going to concern herself with facts now. It's about grifting her audience and getting them to come and keeping them, coming and stay tuned into what she's saying about Charlie and what happened to Charlie and putting doubts in them. And she's doing a good job of that because they are hanging on to her every word. And if you go out on TikTok and you look at the video, oh, it's a lot of people following her on this whole thing. It's a lot of people following her. And, oh, she's making some great points. She's making some really good points. Yeah, you know, so it's just a new grip for her. So she'll beat this dead horse until she can't beat the dead horse. That's it. That's pretty much it for Candace. So she gonna beat this dead horse until it just can't be beaten anymore. So that's all. But now she's just not grifting on us. She's now grifting on a dead guy in TPUSA. That's her new grift, at least for now. So she's going to milk this one. And look, she can milk it for a while because from now until the trial comes up, and then she got the whole trial where she can talk about Tyler Robinson and what's happening with the trial and what she believe and what she don't believe, and she can critique the trial and what's being said. Yeah, she'll be able to grift all the way through the trial. So she can literally milk this thing all the way through 2026 if that's what she wants to do. And I'm willing to bet that's what she will do, y'all. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you for being here. If there's any more updates on this, or if Erica decides to pop up again. We'll watch and see what she got to say, and she didn't really come out strong as far as I'm concerned, just sitting there talking about, "Stop, stop." She really she really didn't come out strong. I think she should have had a much stronger, more powerful response to Candace. You know Candace, you gotta drag Candace. You can't just give her no little one-word response. You got to drag her and then come back, pick her up, and then drag her again. That's how you gotta deal with Candace. You know? You can't just give her no one-word response. You know darn well Candace ain't gonna stop nothing. She gonna double down and triple down now. So y'all, I will see you tomorrow and have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And don't forget to take advantage of the sale I have going on over on Etsy at lisacrafts.etsy.com, or you can still get there by going to 12tribesOnEarth.net and get your 30% off while you can. Shalom, family.